Magnavox.
Smart, Tom. Very smart.
Yeah, I know. Acting dumb is just my job.
Doing a great job.
New York on Avia athletic shoes. Los Angeles on Avia athletic shoes. Avia serious athletic shoes.
It used to be when you had the blues. You had more trouble than you could use. And now I see it on my TV too. Everybody loving down 501 blues. Talking CBS. 501 blues, yeah.
On Murder, She Wrote, an executive power play has Jessica facing a boardroom full of suspects. Cornell Wilde guest stars. Then, Milton Berle, Sid Caesar, Danny Thomas. Side by Side, Sunday.
Helpful hints for a happier life. Have a cheerful attitude.
What's it gonna be? Morbid or loving each day?
Morbid.
Coming of Age starts Tuesday, March 15th.
When the night speeds toward the dawn, babe, time to head for golden light.
Yeah, that's right. I may be a night person, but before I turn in, I stop by my morning place for a hot egg McMuffin or a fresh baked biscuit sandwich. Oh, McDonald's for breakfast, you are beautiful. Hey, it's a beautiful morning.
Here's what leading automotive magazines have said about the Suzuki Samurai. We gave the Samurai good points for maneuverability, engine performance, and chassis balance. The Samurai's dependability has been quite impressive. The Samurai's turning ability is steady and responsive. If you want a rugged four-wheel driver for the minimum amount of money, the Samurai is the only game in town. In the past 17 years, over 500,000 Suzuki 4x4s have been sold in over 100 countries.
The 30th Annual Grammy Awards will continue.
You try to relax, but you can feel its presence. It's there waiting for you. Yes, you've created an unreal entity of awesome power. All because you're putting off doing your taxes till the last minute. The tax laws have changed, and tax forms are different. Don't let it haunt you. File now, file accurately, and make your taxes less taxing.
What you see here is not a man who's disabled, but a man who's simply dad. Give the power to overcome. Give to Easter Seals.
To learn more about the legends of the recording industry, the Library of Congress suggests these books: Music Talks, Conversations with Musicians by Helen Epstein, Riding on a Blue Note by Gary Giddens, and Rock of Ages, The Rolling Stone History of Rock and Roll by Ed Ward. These and many other interesting books are waiting for you in your local library and bookstore. Visit them, and they'll be happy to help you read more about it.
This is CBS.
Good evening. In the news tonight, devastating news for the mother of Lieutenant Colonel Robert D. Tomaso. The remains of her son are not coming home from Vietnam. It got angry for a while, but parents and teachers think they've come up with a way to save 2 Catholic schools in Buffalo's Lovejoy district.
And it's been 2 months since the last attack, but no one's taking any chances as the University Heights district pulls together to capture a rapist. We'll show you what they're doing. Those stories and much more coming up next on News 4 Buffalo Update.
If you live or work in Erie or Niagara County, here's important news.
The 1988 Winner's Choice Sweepstakes is on its way to your mailbox from WBUF. Look for it and be a winner like Donna Kurdziel of Buffalo, who last year won a new car, Wendy Roth of Eden, who chose a new speedboat, and Ed Orange of West Seneca, who chose free mortgage payments. This is the sweepstakes with all local winners. The Winner's Choice Sweepstakes only from WBUF Radio. Check your mail today.
How's everything, boys?
Thumbs up. The burger had a homespun quality I found entertaining. I thought the show was stolen by this saucy French newcomer. How about this Pepsi? I found it refreshing and exciting. A sparkling performance. That's 2 thumbs up.
Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
In the role of the waitress, I found her...
Convincing.
Yet gripping.
A Western New York winter. Friends, fun, and Pepsi. Western New York's choice.
The countdown to excellence on the rich and famous 1988 World's Best 2-hour extravaganza. Don't miss it.
Saturday night at 9 on Channel 4.
Now, from Western New York's news leader, this is News 4 Buffalo Update with Bob Coop, Jackie Walker, Van Miller's Big Board Sports, and meteorologist Don Paul.
Good evening. For a moment today, a Western New York mother thought her search for her son might be over.
But tonight, Mafalda DiTomaso has had a huge emotional letdown. Her son is still among the missing. For 22 years, Mafalda DiTomaso of Lackawanna has endured the pain of not knowing whether her son was dead or alive. Robert DiTomaso was an Air Force lieutenant colonel when he was shot down over Southeast Asia in 1966. Since then, Mrs. DiTomaso has agonized over his whereabouts. Well, today, Mrs. DiTomaso flew to Hawaii, where News 4 cameras were there exclusively waiting for her. The Air Force told her it had received assurances from Vietnam that Bobby DiTomaso's remains would be coming home. But tonight, News 4 has learned that the Lackawanna native's remains are not among the remains of 17 U.S. servicemen killed in action in Southeast Asia.
The Vietnamese did not return to us the remains of whom they believed to be Robert DiTomaso. There was information provided to us. In fact, on Robert DiTomaso, we were provided a military ID card.
Mafalda DiTomaso was devastated by that news and angered that she felt lied to by both Vietnam and Washington.
We are being lied to by the Vietnamese and by our government, the United States government. And they should fight harder, because I'm going to be right in there with them. I don't know. I don't feel too well about the whole thing. I'm just going to have to think this thing over.
The Air Force says it was told by the Vietnamese government that a communications failure between Hanoi and its embassy in Bangkok caused the foul-up. But that is of little consolation to Mafalda DiTomaso, who must now wait even longer to resolve the torture of her missing son. Jackie?
Tonight's tragic news is another blow to a very brave woman and her family. Wadi Sawabini has more now on a mother's fight to learn more about her son missing in action.
I get up in the morning with Bobby in my mind, and I'd go to bed with him in my mind. Even while I'm sleeping, I get up during the night and think about him.
For 22 years, Mafalda DiTomaso has prayed that her son Bobby would someday come home from the war in Southeast Asia. Lieutenant Colonel Robert DiTomaso was aboard an unarmed U.S. Air Force surveillance plane like this one when it went down in July 1966. He is among the 23 Western New Yorkers officially listed as missing in action. Over the years, his family has had unconfirmed reports that he is still alive.
Her latest information was they thought they had seen him alive on the ground.
Bob McPartland is the past commander of the Robert DiTomaso AMVETS post, the only one in the country named for a man missing in action. He says MIA families have been forced to ride an emotional roller coaster.
We just don't know. You know, you get to the point of it'll be great news, but you're also very hesitant because you don't want to be let down.
But tonight there is despair because government officials have corrected earlier reports. Lieutenant Colonel Robert DiTomaso is not among the remains released by Vietnam. Bob Jones of CBS affiliate KGMB Honolulu has more.
Well, everybody is very embarrassed. Yesterday, the Vietnamese, yesterday morning, were saying we will give you 20 remains and that we have information on 10 of them. We can identify 10 of them because they were buried with either dog tags or identification cards.
Jones says there are several explanations for how DiTomaso's name got on the list.
It's widely believed in American military intelligence circles that the Vietnamese may have as many as 400 American remains warehoused in Hanoi, and that they parcel them out as they see fit and as the politics of the moment demand, and that somehow there's been some incredible mix-up, and Mrs. DiTomaso has flown all the way out to Honolulu, as it turns out, for nothing.
So the DiTomaso family is back to wondering and waiting, something they've done for the past 22 years. Wadi Sawabini, News 4 Update.
In other news tonight, it is an issue that has divided the Lovejoy Catholic community. On one hand, the St. Agnes School with nearly 300 students. On the other hand, St. Francis, a school with only 70 students. It's costing the Catholic Church just too much to run both of them. Well, tonight, angry parents met with school officials to get answers about both schools' fates, and News 4's Pam Oliver was there.
They all agree that educating their children is what's important. They disagree on where or how to do it. These are parents, teachers, and parishioners of St. Francis and St. Agnes Catholic churches in the Lovejoy district. Their respective schools are in the middle of a heated battle.
It's terrible. It's a terrible thing. We're trying to give our kids a good, solid Catholic education, and we can't do it.
This committee hopes to settle the dispute. It's come up with a plan that would keep both schools open. It's called regionalization, and church officials admit it's a radical departure from existing modes of operation.
In this way, each parish and every Catholic person in a given region has some financial responsibility toward the regional school. There's what we refer to as local ownership.
We can't afford to wait 3 years to find out what they're going to do with our school system, because the kids have to be in the school now.
Once the meeting ended, most left confused and dissatisfied.
Now, I don't know how we're going to function together, because you can see the animosity between both groups and how we are expected to function together and to keep a viable school in this neighborhood. I don't know what the answer is.
This issue has been going on for the last 5 years and probably won't be settled before next year. One thing that is certain, how and where these Catholic school children will be educated is a matter of dollars and cents. Pam Oliver, News 4, Update.
Psychiatric tests have been ordered tonight for an Orleans County man who kept police in a standoff this afternoon. Police say 67-year-old Bryce Beyer threatened ambulance attendants who responded to an emergency call at his house. When a gunshot was heard inside Beyer's home, state police were called in. The police talked Beyer out of his house without incident.
The safety of the family and the safety of the public. We look forward to having him maybe checked at a hospital for his psychological state.
Beyer was arrested under the state's mental hygiene law. He's being treated tonight at a Rochester hospital. A dozen senior citizens are in temporary housing tonight after a fire ripped through their apartment complex today. Fire investigators will comb through the debris tomorrow to try to figure out what caused this blaze. Fire officials say the early morning fire caused almost $1 million in damage, and it took 5 fire companies several hours to contain. Fortunately, though, there were no injuries to the residents.